Hey, my lovely goal-getters. Welcome to the Moms Making Money Show. I'm your host, Amie Pederson, business mentor and confidence coach for the emerging boss mom. It's my mission to help amazing women just like you up-level yourself and your business because you are meant for more than wiping boogers and folding laundry. I'm also a wife, mother, urban farmer, influencer, green juice enthusiast, and an unapologetic lover of cowboy boots. I can't wait to help you grow your business by sharing my tips, tricks, proven business strategy, experience, and incredible guests. Hang on tight and enjoy the show. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends and educational partners over at the Tailwind app. Tailwind has taken my social media scheduling from being in a total tailspin to well-planned, well-sourced, well-thought, and well-automated in posting. So what Tailwind is it helps you schedule out your posts for both Instagram and Pinterest. And even when you're in Pinterest, you can plug those pins right over onto Facebook. The other great thing is they have little communities and groups within Tailwind, so you can network with other amazing people in your niche and help you expand and grow in that way. They also have this really cool thing where they give you suggestions on hashtags. So this is not only like a huge time saver, but they also tell you like this hashtag is good, this hashtag is mediocre, and this hashtag is awesome, kind of like low, medium, high, cold, warm, hot type of thing. And this is so helpful, especially when you're just getting started and you're not really sure what hashtags you should use or could use. It gives you some suggestions. Of course, you don't have to use those, but it's kind of nice to have the little tips and pointers. So basically what you can do is you can plan out all of your stuff in advance. And they also have this thing called Smart Loop. So say if you post something for the holidays and you're posting something every year at Christmas or every year at Thanksgiving, a lot of girls I know did a 12 days of fitness. Or a 12 days of Christmas type of giveaway or course or training. That's something you could put onto a loop. So every year at Christmas time, you can automatically repin those posts and reshare that content without having to think about it. So the cool thing about Tailwind is, again, so super affordable, so super, super, super useful. Like it's been such an amazing resource for our team and for our company and for growing our Instagram and our Pinterest. We now have over 250,000 views on Pinterest just since we started using Tailwind, and it's been amazing. So Tailwind has agreed to give all of our listeners a free month just to give it a try. No credit card, no anything. And you can do that by going to tailwindapp.com/I/busyfitmomamie. And of course, that link will be right in the show notes for you to take advantage of a free full month. So I hope you guys enjoy using this app and really, really enjoy how easy it makes everything and how seamlessly you can integrate it into your business as a huge time saver. All right, everybody, I have an amazing guest with us today. I have the one and only Beth Blanco. She is a CEO, and she is going to tell us about, she's also an author before I get ahead of myself. She's going to tell us a little bit about her journey from being a financial counselor, how she fell in love with the law of attraction and how this completely and totally changed her life, and how she was able to use some of these transitions and overcome her anxiety. And also by overcoming that anxiety and everything else, she was able to kick her fear to the curb and write a book. The name of her book is called Dust Yourself Off, My Dear, 9 Lessons for Living Your Best Life. And I'm just going to go ahead and turn it right over to you, Beth. Tell us a little bit about this journey and how you got started on this path.
Sounds great. But even before I became a financial counselor, I had all kinds of different careers, none of them very fulfilling. I I went to school on and off for 15 years, and I have 3 college degrees, and I tried out all kinds of careers, and none of it was fulfilling at all. I got married, I got divorced, I had kids along the way. I mean, I had some happy days, but I never can tell you a day that I really felt happy and content and full of joy, maybe a few moments of joy. And I remember the real pivotal time. It was in 2005. I was working at a investment firm, and I hated it. I would literally shake driving to work that day. And I just remember calling out to God and saying, I need to find something in my life that would fulfill me, that I love to do, that sets my soul on fire. And the only thing that I could come up with at that time was that I had went through a divorce and a serious financial disaster that I turned around in about 3 years, and I wanted to help other people do that. And I didn't know how at that time. I didn't know what a certified financial counselor was, or that they even existed, but I knew that I wanted to help people. And even that was before I knew about the law of attraction, which I know we're going to get to later, but I know that I was already beginning to manifest things in my life. And
right.
I just started trying to figure out how to become a financial counselor, how to help people. And I stumbled across who would become my future boss in my first job. And, she had given me a lot of information. I took notes. I started kind of wobbling around in my own way, my own path. And then she kept my contact information, and she had called me out of the blue and said, hey, my employee that works with me is leaving, and you're welcome to apply for the job. And I was like, okay, sure. So I submitted a resume, and I had no experience other than just trying to do it for myself. I had sat down with some clients and was working one-on-one with them. But mind you, I had no idea what I was doing at all. And I applied for the job, and I didn't get it. Somebody called me. I don't think it was her. I think it was the HR guy. Said, we went in another direction, that speech that you get. And I was like, okay, because I felt like that I wasn't ready for this job anyways. There were other people that had more experience and more everything, all these BS stories that we tell ourselves. And then like the next day, they called me back and said, she doesn't want to relocate. She's not going to take the job. It's yours if you want it. So right there, I got a job that I wasn't qualified for yet, that I had no experience in, and that I wasn't really ready for, at least in my mind, just drop in my lap. And it was the best 6 years of my life. The economy crashed around like right after I took that job, and it was sink or swim. I had to learn, and I had to learn really quick, and I had the best mentor, and it was really the best thing that ever happened to me. And that's how the financial counseling world just kind of got dropped into my lap.
I love that. Let's talk a little bit about, I love that was a good experience and all of that. Let's talk about more this law of attraction. I feel like so many people hear about the law of attraction, but they just kind of chalk it off to, oh, that's some sort of weird woo-woo, voodoo, whatever, hippie type of stuff, which you and I both know is not the case. But let's talk about how when you embraced that and brought it into, and welcomed that into your life, what kind of things started to change?
Yeah, definitely. It was because I was doing financial counseling for 11 years at the time. So in 2016, my mom I think I saw the book, The Secret, on her coffee table, or something so random that I can't even put my finger on how I was introduced to it. And I said, I want to, can I borrow this book? She says, oh, you can have it, whatever. And I took it, and not expecting much. I'm just an avid reader. I'm always pursuing self-development and wanting to, I'm a lifelong learner. And so I was intrigued by the cover and the title, and I read this book, and it was just life transforming. I had not been introduced to these concepts that we can co-create the life that we desire, that we even have that power. And I'm getting goosebumps right now, even talking about it, because even though on my journey has been, 3 more years, and I've found lots of other things And honestly, the book, The Secret, is very kind of elementary, I would think now, based on what I've read and learned and everything. But because it was my introduction to it, it will always have this amazing place in my heart. And it totally it was like you could have knocked me over with a feather. It was so amazing to my life. And I had suffered from depression, even though I finally found what I thought was my purpose, my career. It brought me lots more peace and joy in my life. I still had anxiety, lifelong anxiety, and I suffered from severe depression for 10 years, where I would get up and I would go to work and I would function as a human, and I had 2 kids and they were clothed and fed, a lot of times through a drive-through, but they were fed and they had clean clothes in the morning and all of that. But just getting through, my day was hard. When I got home, a lot of times I wanted to just retreat to my bedroom. I didn't want to face the dishes. Just keeping up with the dishes and laundry was very difficult for me. And when I realized that my depression was keeping me stuck in a place that I didn't want to be, it was like a light bulb went off, and I had to figure out, what can I do? If I'm the co-creator of my universe, what can I do to feel better and to attract more positive things in my life? So that was the beginning of it anyways. Hopefully that makes sense.
No, that totally makes sense. And so this may be just a smidge off topic, but do you feel like when you were doing financial counseling, were you counseling people who were growing wealth, or were you counseling people who needed to get out of debt?
Yes, that were in disastrous financial situations. I did not help them grow wealth and do investing. I helped people get out of debt, who were going through divorces, who needed to avoid foreclosure, or maybe had to walk away from their house, or everything from just, I want help making a budget, to am I bankrupt, and all those types. And that is still today my passion. There are people out there who help people, create wealth, and where to invest this and and how to tax shelter that. That is not me. I help the everyday average person begin to budget, create a plan for their debt, start to save, and improve their credit, the basics that everybody should know. And it's still a foundation of what I do. I just love to do even more than that as well.
So one of the things that I'm totally picking up on is how you said improve their credit, pay off debt, instead of, all of those are positive, right?
Yes.
Because I feel like when you're able to step into that, law of attraction, if you will, you shift the type of people that you're attracting, you shift the type of people that you're working with. Do you feel like before you got in tune with the law of attraction that you felt like you were stuck with, people who were just stuck in that, almost I don't want to say victim mentality, but in that place where they just couldn't see any sort of positive light at the end of the tunnel type of thing?
Yeah, there's definitely a poverty mentality when it comes to financial stuff. And I still do come across that sometimes today, because I do still do financial counseling during the day for a company. And a lot of times I do talk to people that have that victim mentality. And what I have done to bring in the law of attraction into that is, first of all, help them to see that they're the ones, help them gently see that they're the ones that are keeping themselves stuck, and that they do need to shift their mind, and that they also need to rewrite their money story and stop saying things like, I can't afford this. This is just my luck. Money doesn't grow on trees. Those financial things that the neighbor has is for them, but not for me, and all of those types of things. But yes, and my Money Minds, my side business, I do attract more people that are ready to drop the guilt and just, go after what they desire and fix their financial goals. Because there's some people that they could make $1 million a year and still not know how to manage their money. So there's some of that needs to happen. But a lot of it is mindset shifting, and I love that's what brings me joy and lights me up, is that part of it.
Yeah. And I feel like it's, when you're talking to somebody who's so stuck in that place of lack, and I don't mean that, obviously, I don't mean that when they're stuck in that place of lack that there is anything wrong with them or anything. That's just what they know. That's what they've been taught over the course of their entire life. But do you feel like that can be heavy as the person doing the work, like being the mentor?
It can, and some people are easier to shift than others, especially if they've lived in generational poverty. It could be that they, like live in subsidized housing, and even their grandparents did, and they just don't even know that there is a different life that they could have. And it can be very, very difficult. And there are some people that I can't even get to see that there is something different for them. And, we can only help those that also want to be helped. And so I do take that, remembrance with me, that I'll still help them, as that's my job to give them some tips and tools and guidance. But the ones that are most successful is if they can embrace that the ability to change is for them as well as everyone else.
Agree. So let's talk about how, once you got onto this journey, what led you to decide to write a book?
Sure. So I'm a part of a lot of law of attraction groups on Facebook, and I really found my tribe. I have some great friends that I still am friends with and everything, but you do lose a lot of people in your life when you adopt any new philosophy. And I've had to kind of try to bring them along with the ride with me, or love them where they're at. That's fine. But my circle got smaller, but my online community got larger and larger. And as I, grew in this, I realized that there were some things holding me back. And one of the things was I had a really bad relationship with my dad forever. In fact, I just feel like, he was 22 when my mom got pregnant. They got married, and he was right out of the Navy. And I feel like he was just not ready to become a husband and a father. And he took that out on me. And I had to do so much healing. I did 2.5 years just trying to heal from him and just the effects of our bad relationship. I have then in turn had bad relationships with the men. My marriage fell apart. I was my high school sweetheart. I was hooked on for all my life. And he was one of the main reasons why I had such a really bad depression, is because we had a roller coaster emotional ride that I will never go on again in my entire life. But I did so much inner healing. And when I got on the other side of that, I knew that was absolutely my calling to help others heal. Not only that, but, heal their finances, heal their relationship, and to just self-love is so lacking, especially in women. And that is my huge passion. And that's why I wrote my book too, is to help people to just heal all aspects of their life, and to realize that they are the co-creators and they can have anything they want to do and be and everything. And to take them through my journey and how I did it, and maybe I can help some people along the way.
I love that. That is so awesome. So what kind of obstacles do you feel like you had to overcome to get to the point where you were like, all right, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to take this thing that has completely changed my life and I'm going to write a book?
That's a great question. I was always kind of writing all my life. Like when I was that little kid that always wrote these silly short stories. I've actually always had a huge active imagination. I would be in my own head, I've always loved the princess and, fairy tales, I guess, and all that through my whole life. But as I got older, you're told, get your head out of the clouds, Beth, you need to have your feet on the ground. Well, after I started healing, I really embraced that creative side of me, because I'm, as a financial counselor, you're very also left brain, but I have this very creative side to me. I'm kind of a hippie. I was raw. I believe that I was born in the wrong generation. I should have been a 60s child.
Right.
And so I really embraced that. And I just started writing, and I was doing a lot of journaling. Oh my gosh, so much journaling. And I talk about that in my book. Probably people get sick of hearing about journaling in every chapter, but it's the truth. And I just had this universal download. This book came out of it, and I just started doodling some stuff down until I had an outline. And I really wrote my book in like 3 months. It was just a project of passion, and I couldn't stop until it was done.
And that's how I feel like that's how you know too that it is a product of like being super passionate about something, because if you are like so in it that you can't stop doing it, then that's like for sure how you know.
Heck yeah, because there's so many projects that you can start and stop, and they get, pushed away to the side. And for you to really finish something, it's difficult, especially, I'm a mom, I work, I have my side job, I have things going on too, but it was just something that I couldn't stop.
Right. I love that. And I feel like too, if you had some advice, like completely just outside of law of attraction type of advice, what kind of advice would you give women who feel like they're stuck in lack or in that place of, I don't know what to do next. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how to get to a better situation with life?
That's a great question. I think a lot of it has to do with self-love and how we feel about ourselves. It's really the foundation. And a lot of times if people are feeling like they're stuck, it is that they need to work on themselves first. And this is one tip or one suggestion that I want to give all the readers out there. And this will be a test on how strong your self-love is. If you have to shut the bathroom door and lock it, fine. But I want you to look at yourself in the mirror and say some wonderful things about yourself. And just see, if you sit there and stutter like the first time I did, I couldn't come up with one nice thing to say about myself. And I had read about this and I thought, this is silly. This is so stupid. But I did it, and wow, it was so telling that I didn't love myself. And that is the absolute foundation of everything else in every direction you want to go, is not only liking yourself, but you got to love yourself. And that there's no way around that mountain. You have to do it.
Yeah. And I think this is one of the hardest things to do as a woman, especially as a mother. We get this new body and these new things that happen and these new priorities, like keeping the tiny little humans alive and well. And I feel like a lot of times, this has happened to me as well, that our priorities change. And then you get some a-hole who's like, oh, she's let herself go. And then you're like, oh my God, I have let myself go. I'm not a size whatever pants anymore. I can't even get them on. I have let myself go. But the truth is it's not so much that you let yourself go, is you had new priorities.
That is such a great point. And I think too, as women, that, we're told to give to others and not to, not to put ourselves first, that's selfish. And, who are we to think that, we need to do this for ourselves when there's husbands that need things and kids and work. And, there's so many priorities that we have that we put ourselves last a lot of the times. And, it's kind of like that. They tell you, like, if you're on a plane and you need to give yourself oxygen first before you put the mask on anybody else around you or the kids. And that's how we need to just take that back and know that we've got to be okay for everybody else around us to be okay.
Yeah. And I feel like this is something so hard to grasp. I feel like so many, because we're raised a certain kind of way, and we're taught that in order to be, in order to have value, our value is based on being a good girl and being that perfect wife and being that perfect mother and keeping that perfect house. And when people come over for Thanksgiving, everything's beautifully laid out. I use Thanksgiving because I really like Thanksgiving, but everything's beautifully laid out and you're the perfect hostess, that whole hostess with the mostest thing. And we put all this pressure on ourselves to deliver these ideals of what we think other people are expecting of us. And sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't. And I've noticed that as my tribe and community of other moms and other women grows, none of these other women give two flying shits if you serve them Thanksgiving on a paper plate or not. Like, they just don't care.
Exactly. And they'll probably respect you more for it because they're like, girl, she cut down on the dishes. Way to go.
Right, exactly. Or this is obviously not like any sort of like promotional plug or whatever. I use these kind of like crock pot types of things, and they all connect together. And I just dump all the stuff in those, and then put the turkey in. And so it's like, oh, these are cooking, and anything else that has to be cooked at the last minute, that goes in the Instapot. Anything outside of that has been scrapped from Thanksgiving at my house.
That's amazing. Yes, I love it. That's kind of like our Christmas. We usually do like a Mexican theme for Christmas Eve. That's my mom's. Everybody gets together on Christmas Eve, and everything just goes in the crock pots. We do it on paper plates, and you can eat all day long if you want or whatever. And I love that.
I love that. I'm coming to your house for things.
You totally can.
So what would you say, like, what if you could give one tip for the listeners on how to actually start implementing self-love and I mean, like, really mean it, like really start loving yourself besides the locking yourself in the bathroom? Like, because I feel like there's more to it too than, I think a lot of people think body image, and I think that's a huge thing that we get down on ourselves for.
Mm-hmm.
What are some tips that you could just give to kind of take those first steps to towards combating some of that? Because I know it's a process, and I know it's not like one tip is going to necessarily change your life.
Right. It is hard because I can say, even if you're not happy with your weight, just still dress the part and things like that. There's all these tips out there, and it is really hard because the outer appearance is not really what we're talking about here. It's that inner appearance. But sometimes we do have to tackle, the outer appearance before the inner appearance can catch up with you. So maybe part of it would be to take care of the outer you, just so that you feel a little bit better. But I really do believe in the affirmations, and meditation totally changed my life. There is some really great self-love meditations out there. One of the absolute best ones that I found pretty early on was by Eric Ho, and it's a love meditation. And he is amazing because he really, in it, it's a guided one where he's saying, I am love, and different things like that. And
Right.
It was really difficult for me at first, but I would say to just keep at it. And if you have to dress the outside of you, fine, but really start digging in and working on the inside stuff through journaling, meditation, and then the mirror work. And I promise you, it will catch up to you. And then all of a sudden, you can shift body weight off. There's a lot of evidence that shows that we hold on to weight as a protection. Like if something traumatic has happened to us in the past, we'll hold on to body weight and things like that. As you heal the inside, you can heal the outside of you a lot easier, in fact. So, but it could be going for a walk in nature. That's a really great one too. Listening to music that uplifts you, just doing something that makes you laugh. I love Robin Williams. I love his videos and things. He just makes me laugh. And so if I'm in a bad mood, I'll just put something on YouTube that makes me laugh hysterically.
I love that. And one of the things I know for myself is I've started implementing more fun things. And by fun things, because I polled my group and I asked people what do you do for fun? And I got a lot of, I go to the gym, I do my workout. And I was like, no. Going to the gym is not fun for me. So
Right.
And I'm just being totally honest. I went to the gym today because I'm committed to doing that for myself, but it wasn't something that I committed to doing because I find it overly fun. So for me, it was like, okay, I'm going to start riding horses again. I'm going to take ballroom dancing classes that I've been wanting to do my entire life and I never did. And even my personal trainer, she's like, yes, and those count as workouts. She's like, you get to have those things as part of your moving your body thing. But can we talk, I kind of want to go back a little bit and talk about the protection mechanism of keeping weight on, because
Sure.
I've heard this over and over, and a lot of people have been told, like, well, what's keeping you from, losing that extra weight, and a lot of people I've heard, some people are like, oh, well, it's because, back when I was quote unquote skinny or whatever, back when I was at this ideal weight, I was getting hit on and, those types of things. And I was thinking to myself, like, yeah, I could totally see that, but that's not my thing. And like some of the other women who I've asked about it, they're like, yeah, no, they were like, one girl even told me, she's like, I would like to be hit on, and I was just like, oh, okay. So what do you think, just kind of, if you could broadly generalize, like one or two things that you've experienced from your clients, what are some of the things that maybe women are holding on to that weight does make them feel safe? Or like you said, like a trauma, maybe we're all overthinking it and we're completely off base.
Yes, I think a lot of it has to do with if there was some type of a childhood trauma, or it could be as simple as maybe, you had a sister and you were one daughter was treated better than the other, and you associated that with a physical aspect or something like that. I know with my mom, for example, she loves to feed people. She just, like, food is a love for her.
Right.
And whenever somebody walks in the door, she wants to feed them. And I do believe that she was brought up that way, that my grandma probably was like that. And, we can be pleasantly plump in our family. I have to really watch it. I have to get myself to the gym 3 to 4 days a week. And again, like you, it is not, always my most pleasant thing, but I do it because it's good for my health. And, I have to watch my carbs. I'm over 40 and, and all these things that, I would rather eat that cake all the time if I could. But I do think that a lot of times it might not be, as simple as somebody got hit on. And so they're trying to avoid that. But there was maybe there's some negative memory, or could be very traumatic. It could be something, physically happened to them or something like that, I've come across things that, it could be when they were a child, maybe they weighed around 50 pounds when something traumatic happens and they're holding on to about 50 pounds. And it's just there is a connection there. And that they have to heal that trauma in some cases before the eating and the exercising and the other fitness things that they have even take effect, really.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And, and it's kind of like a lot of times we talk about, and this one I can more relate to because this is up my alley, right, with business, is the fear of success. What holds you back from making those moves to become successful? And there's so many different things of like, well, I'm afraid that, such and such is going to expect me to become their personal ATM, or I'm afraid that my friends or family or both are going to think this about me or that about me or whatever. And sometimes those things are true and sometimes they're not. So how often do you find that the things that we have going on are legitimate, like traumas, they've really happened to us, versus things that we just think could or might happen?
It's a very common. And when you were saying that, I have a good friend that her mom is just always got some type of a con going. She, gets a payment because she has like an illness, and it's supposed to be a family member that comes in and cleans her house. However, she doesn't have anybody. She keeps the funds. She finds somebody that is willing to accept the funds and sign it over to her, and things like that. Or she's always like, I need somebody to put these utilities in their name. And so I had a conversation with her because she is afraid of success, because she knows that her mom will be there ready to, with her hand out. And We've had many conversations, and hopefully I've helped her, but that's one case. And there's many, many reasons. There's other, people are afraid to be seen, or thought that they're weird. If my aunt saw me post about the law of attraction, they might think that, I'm strange or something like that. And we really, in order to have success, we've got to be willing to shed all of that skin, or we will keep ourselves stuck, even though we say, I want to step into, my purpose and everything. We actually won't, because of those. And it's things that we've got to heal in our lives.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. Definitely. I want to kind of hop back over to your book. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what's in your book, why everybody should have it, and where we can all get it?
Sure. Yes. So, this book it's about my spiritual journey. My daughter almost died. I'm not going to give too many details away, but she was on life support for 5 days. And that was the beginning of my spiritual journey, where I fell on my knees, and I had not even stepped in foot of a church or done anything, spiritual, religious, or anything in basically 20 years. And I made a deal with God that if he would save her life, that I would do whatever he wanted from me, even though I wasn't sure what that was. And so that's kind of at the beginning of my spiritual journey, all the way to finding the law of attraction, and how, I healed depression, anxiety, the tools and the tips that I did, because I tried everything. I went to conventional therapy and tried anti-anxieties, and none of that worked for me. And I'm not against any of that. I think everybody needs to find their own path. But if you have tried that path and it has not worked for you either, then I think that my book can be of help. And just, good, bad, or ugly things that I have happened to me that I've turned around. And, it's a story of resilience and, truly dusting yourself off, getting back up, and you're never too old. Don't feel like you should be somewhere that you're not by now, that you haven't accomplished everything that you want. As long as you're still breathing, there's still time. And that's what my book, it hopefully is a story of resilience, and that it's never too late, and that I would love to help you bring along the journey with you. There is a Facebook group called Dust Yourself Off, My Dear. It's on Facebook, and it's just a free where we community. You can find me there. But the book is going to be sold on Amazon, and I don't have the link yet. That's coming out hopefully this week, because the book actually launches August 28th. But you can get the first chapter now, which is my freebie, and I'll provide a link for anybody that wants to read the first chapter. They can join the Facebook group. They can find me on Facebook. I have an author page. I also have Money Minds page, and all of that. So.
That is so awesome. You guys, make sure that, so by the time this episode hits the airwaves, this book is going to be live on Amazon. Make sure you get yourself a copy, and make sure that once you do and you get the book read, you leave an amazing review, and make sure you go over and show some love on social and all the places, and just let everybody know about this episode. And you're welcome to leave Beth an amazing 5-star review right here on the podcast as well. So thank you so much, Beth, for coming on here and sharing all of this amazing law of attraction goodness with us. I mean, you guys, this is like gold. I'm so excited.
It has been an ultimate pleasure. Seriously, I love talking about this stuff, and I'm so happy that you invited me on.
Yay! I'm so glad that you said yes. So again, go ahead, find her in all the places. And before we hop off, you have a free gift for everybody. So I want to make sure we talk about that and don't skip over that also.
Okay, yes. So I've got the first chapter of Dust Yourself Off, My Dear. That's available. I do have a free gift of a budget form if anybody wants to what it does is it's analysis. It analyzes your income versus your expenses, and seeing at the bottom when you're all done, if you have a positive number, that means there's enough money to go around with everything. If there's a negative number, that means there's not. But then what that means is there's room for improvement in places, or room to grow your income to cover that too. So I actually got both of those that I will leave the link.
Awesome. Awesome. So you guys, we will put the link for both of those in the show notes. So if you're listening on your phone, just swipe up and you can go back to the show notes and just link over directly. Otherwise, if you're listening while you're driving, please don't swipe up. You can always go back to amiepederson.com/podcast and grab the link from the show notes there, or also reach out to Beth directly. I'm sure she'll gladly give this to you.
Yes, I definitely will.
Awesome. Thank you so much again. We will be probably having you back on very soon and hearing all about the success of your book and everything else. You guys, let's give her a huge round of listeners' applaud. Thank you so much, Beth.
Thank you, Amie. It's been a huge pleasure. Thank you.
Of course.